Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It has been entirely too long, but the Friday Night Lights are finally here. We are finally back for year number 3 here on Front Porch News and Chad's Media. If you've been hanging out with us all these years, thank you so much. Welcome back in. If this is your first time, I'm Tyler Lennon. I'm joined, of course, my favorite person to spend Friday nights with, Wildcat legend, national champion, Ryan Humphries. What's going on, buddy?
I'm flattered as always. Tyler, I woke up this morning and I took a deep breath, and it felt like football season.
It felt like football season.
I don't know if it was the weather. I don't know if it was because today's game day, but it truly felt like football season. And Tyler and I are very excited to be here. Thank you guys for coming back and choosing Chad's Media, Front Porch News, as your Wildcat football provider. We expect a big crowd tonight, but we also know that there's a lot of people watching, and we greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, we are super excited. Going up against Mesquite Poteet tonight, looking for our third consecutive win on opening night.
I don't know if that's
Is
that a Chad's Media thing, or because this is our third year of doing it?
I don't know.
But, yeah, I feel good about tonight, excited. Think it's going to be a great game, great season opener, and I love that we're at the Prim.
So we have a ton to get into here in the pregame show, including everyone's favorite segment, Hump's Keys to Victory. But before we go too far, we want to make sure we want to give a shout out until we want to tell you about the people who are responsible for bringing you the pregame show this year. That's our good friends at Nottingham Sulphur Springs Dodge, where they make your car buying experience smooth and enjoyable. Explore their extensive inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles. I'm sorry, Ryan. This is not a scrimmage for us anymore. We're back.
Tyler's nervous too. So am I. It's okay.
Got the pregame jitters, but. Yes, explore their extensive inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles tailored to fit any lifestyle and budget. Their dedicated team is there to guide you through every step from selecting the perfect car to securing financing. Go give them a visit or browse their online showroom at ssdodge.com. Your next journey starts with the perfect car. Find it at Nottingham Sulphur Springs Dodge. Ryan, let's go ahead and start with some of our guys, some of the Sulphur Springs Wildcats. I think the conversation has to start with QB1, Caden Mitchell.
No doubt. And, last week at the scrimmage against Kaufman, I was very impressed with Caden. I thought he was very poised in the pocket. The thing about Caden is, yes, it is his first, full season as the starting quarterback.
Right.
But he's not going to be as raw as a new quarterback could be. He did kind of get thrown into the fire his sophomore season. Very unique situation.
Almost wins a playoff game.
Almost wins a playoff game against Dallas Carter. And so Hear me when I say that Caden is very capable of leading this team to new heights. He's surrounded by some fantastic pieces, but I'm excited for Caden. Obviously, he's nervous. He should be nervous. I always said that if you weren't nervous, you didn't care enough.
Right.
Every time I suited up for the Sulphur Springs Wildcats, whether that be track, baseball, basketball, football, whatever, I was nervous. And that's because I cared so much. I had prepared so much, and I'm ready to get it going. I want it to work out, and I assume that Caden feels the same way. A lot of his answers and the hard knocks that we've seen, a lot of the interviews, I know you and Corey spent a lot of time around the team during practice. He's said all the right things.
Yep.
He's prepared the right way all off season, and so I think tonight we're going to see kind of that final product of where we're at with Caden Mitchell.
Yeah, we made the joke before the scrimmage that, no one has more QB1 energy. All of his answers are exactly what you want to hear, like you were saying. And, yeah, we've been at practice pretty much every single day throughout camp, even as the regular season has now started. And, he brings it every single day. He very much has filled that, senior leadership role. So I think – if there were ever a new QB1 stepping in, this is exactly who you would be hoping it would be. You know what I mean?
No doubt. And like I said, he's surrounded by some really great pieces. Not only do we have a fantastic receiving core, all of a sudden we're loaded in the backfield. I feel like last week we had 2 70-plus yard touchdowns, and the offensive line, if I had to pick one word to describe them, I would say large.
Yeah.
It is just a big group, and so if I'm Caden, I feel great getting off the bus. I am surrounded by all these fantastic pieces that are going to help me succeed.
So you mentioned the backfield. I think that's a good segue. Another guy kind of in a new role, if you will, is Jackson Hare, who, again, started on varsity as a freshman, but at receivers had 2 pretty good years at the receiver role, but now moving into running back. He has a combined 647 yards, 7 touchdowns, but 0 rushing attempts. So he'll be taking his first official rushing attempt tonight.
I'd go as far as say that the first offensive snap tonight is a Jackson Hare rushing attempt.
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Because last week, about 5 minutes after you said that he's kind of a Christian McCaffrey type player because he can run and he can catch, he busted a 75-yard touchdown. And so Jackson, I really think is going to provide quite the I don't know, quite the uptick in offensive stats from a running and receiving standpoint.
Yes.
They're not going to be afraid to spread him out wide, get him with a mismatch on a linebacker, a safety that doesn't want to cover. It's really going to create a problem for opposing defenses.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have really a more versatile offense right now. You can kind of do whatever. You can adjust to that opponent, whatever you need to do. One more person from the Wildcats I want to talk about before we look at some of the Poteet players. That is Grayson Hardy, a junior, but he led the team in tackles last year from the safety position, but now with Ty Bobby moving a corner, now kind of filling a leadership role in the secondary. Grayson Hardy again led the team in tackles last year. What are you hoping to see from him this year?
I'm hoping to see a ball hawk, middle of the field, just general. Last week he picks a deep one off against Kaufman.
Almost had a second too.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that a lot. Obviously he's a long, athletic kid, and so when that ball's in the air over the middle, I want to see him go get it. Last week I remember specifically I said that, because I think we were talking about players that have aspirations of playing at the next level, and I made the comment college coaches are looking for safeties that not only control the middle of the field and have coverage skills, but they want to see guys come downhill and make hits. And I think right on cue, Grayson Hardy made about 3 tackles at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. So we're going to see that a lot. And when you have defensive backs making those plays, gosh, it makes the front seven's job tremendously easier.
100%. Yeah, he very much is the kind of do-it-all safety. We know, like we said, led the team in tackles. We know he can get tackles for loss. Again, didn't have any interceptions last year, but had a couple moments where he very much could have had an interception, and
I can
already
assure you he will this year.
I think you're going to see a number of interceptions from him. Speaking of looking at Mesquite Poteet, a couple of guys that I do want to point out from their team. Starting with number 2, he's a defensive back, Marcus Thomas. He already has an offer from Mississippi Valley State, which is a D1, and he had 4 interceptions last year. He's going to be going up against a very good pass offense tonight, but that's a player to watch out for sure.
No doubt. Obviously I don't know Mesquite Poteet, what their defensive scheme is going to be when you're scheming against a guy like Skylar Lewis. Do we put that guy on him the entire night? Is it a side type thing? It will be interesting to see how Poteet handles that.
The next person I want to talk about is wide receiver number 7, Jaden Walker. He's a senior. He led the team in every single receiving category last year, and it wasn't even close. He had 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, 29 catches. All of those was twice as much than the next person closest to him. And from what we've been told, Mesquite Poteet runs a very, very, very spread out, very open offense. I think you're going to see him get a lot of targets tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. And when you have that spread offense, and I think what you're saying is they're physically wide.
As spread out as far as possible.
So teams do that not only to create space for the receivers, it gives you more in-breaking routes and deep-breaking routes, but it opens up the run game because you've got to decide as a defense, do I want to put the safeties out wide? Do I want to widen out my linebackers and create lanes up the middle? And so it's definitely going to be a challenge for the front 7 for the Wildcats, but I think it's one that we can handle.
How difficult does that make it from a defensive standpoint?
It can either be incredibly easy or incredibly tough. If we're on top of things, gosh, you're making a lot of long passes that the quarterback has to make, and if we're dominant up front with the front 7 and the 5 guys on the O-line can't handle it, it can just get really tough to move the ball that spread out.
You had mentioned it makes it easier to run the ball as well. They are returning their leading rusher from last year, number 27, Aaron Tinsley. The thing with Tinsley, he is very efficient with the carries he gets. He averaged about 4.5 yards per carry last year, but he was only getting 7 or 8 carries per game. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, they had 2 quarterbacks last year, both of which who graduated. So whoever is taking snaps at quarterback tonight, it will be their first time doing so. So maybe you do see him get more involved. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting. Poteet 0-10 last year, 2-8 the year before. That is not that is not in line with the history of Mesquite Poteet. That predominantly a good program, one of the better Mesquite programs in the last decade. And so the fact that they've won 2 games in the last 2 years surprises me. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see an improved Pirates team tonight because when you have a town with so many high schools, all it takes is, this kid transfers here. They've got a young class coming up, and it can change quickly is 100%. The point I'm making.
100%. Ron, we still got plenty of time before kickoff here tonight, and we still have plenty to get to, but I think we've already teased it a little bit. I think it's time we go ahead and get to everyone's favorite part of the pregame show, Hump's Keys to Victory.
Tyler, it's been a long off season. I've actually been thinking about what my 3 keys to victory would be for like a month now. And I guarantee that it's similar week 1 in the 3 years that we've done it. But number 1, we're going to weather the storm. You always hear me talk about that Friday nights especially in high school football or a roller coaster. There are going to be times tonight where we succeed. There's going to be times tonight where Mesquite Poteet gets the best of us. We're going to throw an interception. We're going to have a fumble, whatever it may be. But we're going to weather the storm. We've got to monitor and manage the highs, and we've got to be okay with the lows and know that they're going to happen. Tyler, number 2, we've got to make the easy plays. We've got to make the easy plays. And what I mean by that, you hear me say that a lot, but don't take for granted the 5-yard out that's wide open. We got to throw that, and we got to make that play. If there's we've got a perfectly blocked scheme up front. Jackson, we've got to hit the hole. That we've got to get those 4 yards, make the easy plays. If there's a tipped ball and we've got a free interception, Grayson Hardy, you got to come down with it. Those are the things that early in the season I think are the most important because there's a lot of schematical things that aren't going to go right tonight.
Right.
So when we have those opportunities to make easy plays, we got to make them. And number 3, Tyler, we got to have fun. We got to have fun. Don't take for granted high school football. It goes so quickly. Gosh, I would do anything to suit up tonight for the Wildcats and be in their spot. So have fun tonight. Enjoy your for these seniors. It's the first game of the season that they're going to play. For some guys tonight, it's the first game on varsity that they've ever played. So there's lots of firsts tonight. There's a first any way you cut it, really.
Right.
And so have fun, enjoy it. We're incredibly fortunate to have such a supportive community. It's going to be a great crowd tonight.
Yeah, you can already see we have a great crowd. We're still about 20 minutes from kickoff.
I'm pumped, Tyler. We're going to have fun.
Also, I want to point
– that's on our keys to victory, too.
It's funny you say that. I was going to point out your keys to victory. I think the same goes for us here at Jazz Media.
Absolutely.
Let's weather the storm.
Absolutely.
Let's make the easy plays. Let's have fun.
Whether it's a technical issue, we don't have the marker tonight. That stinks. That's something that we're going to bring out. We had it in the scrimmage. We're going to bring that back at some point, hopefully next week. We've got to weather that storm. Tyler, we got to make the easy plays. Whenever there's something good for us to talk about, we're going to do it.
We got to do it.
And we're going to have fun. We're going to have a good time.
I love it. I love that it fits for both. Again, we still got plenty of time before kickoff tonight, so we've got plenty to get into. But first, we want to make sure that you get to hear from some of our friends that make all this possible. And we might also let people see a sneak preview of Episode 4 of Hard Knocks.
Welcome to Nottingham Sulphur Springs Dodge, where we make your car buying experience smooth and enjoyable. Explore our extensive inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles, tailored to fit every lifestyle and budget. Our dedicated team is here to guide you through every step, from selecting the perfect car to securing financing. Come visit us today or browse our online showroom at ssdodge.com. Your next journey starts with the perfect car. Find it here at Nottingham Sulphur Springs Dodge.
Family history, it runs deep in the veins. I mean, my dad and my uncle, they played here as a Wildcat. Both went far. My uncle went to the league. I mean, my dad went somewhere in there. When Coach Faircloth called me in his office, and he was like, "Do you want to play Division I ball?" And I was like, "Yes, sir, I do." And he was like, "Well, I'm going to hold you to that." And I just put my trust in him. I put my trust in everybody. All the coaching staff, I just trusted. That's the number one thing I had to do so it can work. Before they came, I wasn't really even into football. I was just going to play basketball. But when Coach Faircloth came and I knew that I would have like a whole new staff, I just wanted to come play football. And Coach Faircloth, he told me I was going to play receiver for him. And he introduced me to Coach Easley. Coach Easley was like, "Yeah, you're going to play receiver. You're going to do really good at it." And I just trusted him. So now look, and here I am, a beast. I mean, it's pretty exciting whenever you didn't think it was going to happen at the start. I mean, it's very exciting because it's just happening so quick. It's also stressful because you got all these coaches texting you at once, just trying to get you, bribe you to come on down, do all this other stuff, take you on visits. I mean, it's pretty stressful. I've been growing a couple of gray hairs, I remember when I first started, I mean, I was slow. I wasn't really y'all, I'm telling you, if I didn't have Coach Easley or Coach Faircloth, you wouldn't know me. It wouldn't be 6 for 6. It wouldn't be you would not know me. I promise you, I did not have love for this game as much as I do with Coach Faircloth and Coach Easley and all the coaching staff, Coach Jeter. They made me love this game, so I just really appreciate them.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium. We are almost ready for the season opener between the Sulphur Springs Wildcats and Mesquite Poteet. Wildcats, 2 back-to-back great seasons in a row. I believe 15 wins over the last 2 years, back-to-back trips to the playoffs. Again, we were showing a snippet from Episode 3 of Hard Knocks, which aired today at noon. For anyone that hasn't gotten to see it after tonight's game, it would be a perfect time to go watch it. And then Episode 4 will be next week, Friday at noon. But one of the big themes has been getting back to the playoffs and winning this year. Ryan, what do you think are some of the things that has to happen for that to happen?
Well, first and foremost, I think that, the first goal in the offseason is win the first game. Okay, so hopefully we go